What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's Commanders Countdown, recapping the third straight win, going into hopefully four this next week, like last season, which is definitely great. But
Yep.
before we do that, I feel like there is some more pressing news that everyone's obviously aware of. Dan Snyder might finally be selling the team. So it could be good news. Although, I mean, like right now I'm seeing Jay-Z and Jeff Bezos are like,
There's been some Byron Allen, billionaire Byron Allen has been a name that's emerged.
But if Bezos wants it, he can outbid him. So
Yeah,
I'm not really sure how I would feel about the Bezos thing. But I know
especially me going into this possible Amazon job, I was like, I'd be working for the potential Commanders somehow indirectly.
Yeah. I mean, I still, until something really happens for sure, I take all this with a grain of salt because there's always been rumors around Dan Snyder. I mean, a lot more has happened recently. It said that he acquired Bank of America securities to look into offers for the team. And then as time has progressed, now we're seeing that, Bezos and Jay-Z might, at first I'm thinking these are just bullshit rumors, but I'm actually seeing them on, credible websites now. So it's like, all right, well, maybe this is something to actually...
and this has also been reported by Schefter as well. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, Jay-Z's been in the running. I've seen RG3 put out a tweet that he wants to, save up some money with some fans and try to buy a minority stake in the team. So, I mean, everybody's, putting in an interest here. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, Bezos has to be one of the favorites. And, obviously, right now, I think Schefter asked about whether this would be, whether they're trying to sell the team as a whole or just like a minority stake. And then the response from the Snyders was that they're open for potentially they're open for any offers to see.
Okay, see, I didn't hear about that because I thought that might still be a possibility that he's just looking for minority stake owners, maybe to try and build
he's
build
open
a
to move the entire franchise. Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. Well,
and then you'd wonder if that land that they purchased as well would be part of the package. Remember that land that they acquired in Virginia last year? I wonder if that'd be a part of the package as well. And then I've seen some people have the issue with like if they're like, okay, well, if we were to get a new owner, like this is like the one perk to Dan Snyder. It's like if we got a new owner, maybe they'd try to relocate the team, which that's true. That's always a possibility, and that would suck. But
I have heard that, but I don't the other NFL owners have to approve something like that? Like there has to be,
it would have to be
a good
approved.
reason. Like there's got to be a market somewhere that they think that they can tap in order to move a team from where they're from. And I mean, with the Ravens being another Maryland team, I think that could be an argument. A lot of fans have moved on to the Ravens over Washington. I know I hate to say that, but I've heard that before. So it could be possible that a new owner might look into moving the team, and that would suck.
Yeah, absolutely. You would definitely hate to see that, especially with the tradition. I mean, they've been there since 1932, I believe.
It was established. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, definitely don't want to see that. The other thing too about if the team were to be purchased, whoever the purchasing party would have to be approved by 24 of the league's 32 owners as well. So that's notable.
Definitely monitor that situation. Until things really happen, I'm not going to make any. Oh, Dan's selling the team. I'm not going to go out there and say that because until something really happens, you don't know.
Right.
But the way that it's looking, it looks like it is. I would say more likely than not that the team might be sold. So
it's as close to happening as it's ever been before. And then also on the heels of this emerging, it's also been mentioned from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Eastern Virginia that there's been a criminal investigation opened up looking into potential allegations of financial improprieties with the Washington Commanders as well. So wonder if that has anything to do with the timing of the move. I mean, obviously Dan has been adamant for years that he would never sell the team. And now he's like, well, he's at least thinking about it. So definitely a day that I'm sure a lot of Washington fans thought they'd never live to see. So
that's why I have a hard time looking at these things like, oh, okay, well, this is, nothing's going to happen. But now it's like, this is more that's ever happened before. So at this point, I'm kind of optimistic, but that's a whole other conversation too about like, the new owner, what they might do. Like we'll get more into that later on as this situation develops. But a new owner doesn't necessarily mean good. Dan Snyder hasn't been good.
It's
but
true.
It's one of those things. It could be just as bad or worse. So we'll definitely monitor what happens with that. And
there's
some
other
other
bad
good
owners
news
in the NFL. Yeah.
Irsay, the one person to speak out it's Dan Snyder. He's like one of the other worst owners. I thought that was funny.
And then of course you got Bobby Kraft in New England too with his like prostitution.
Yeah. Ones. In some other good news, Chase Young finally returns to practice, and they have 21 days to activate him to the roster. So I don't expect we'll see him this week against the Vikings. Probably not next week either. I would think the following week would be when we'll see him. But if we're lucky, maybe it'll be after this game.
Yeah, and I know that once he does hit the field, he's going to be part of a rotation. Obviously with like James Smith-Williams and Casey Toohill. Those guys have been doing a pretty good job filling in. Obviously the defense is starting to play. They're starting to find their groove. Obviously early in the season when they were getting gashed, a lot of calls for JDR's job. And, obviously staying the course and staying patient proved, with both coordinators proved to be, not that the offense is scoring a ton of points right now, but they're scoring enough. And obviously Scott Turner had to basically just change his offensive system for a new quarterback. But yeah, great to see Chase return. You do expect him to be on a limited snap count when he does come back, but, he's rehabbing that ACL, which from what I understand, it was like a worse ACL injury than what like Bosa got, from my understanding, right?
Yeah, the time frame on their recovery is about the same. Bosa was about a year, and Chase, I think, is about a year as well. So, because people have been saying like, "Oh, why isn't he playing yet? Why is he playing yet? That's so stupid." Bro, it's an injury. You gotta play that shit smart. And
especially like, have you guys not seen what's happened in Washington from like, notable situation, Robert Griffin III?
I was saying, like Washington in the past, like that's exactly what I was saying. Like, yeah, so it's like, guys,
let's not rush him back on the field.
Relax, like let him heal and then come back out. So.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
The two big stories that Chase and Dan Snyder possibly selling the team. As I was saying in the beginning, we did come off a win this week over the Colts, 17-16. It was as the last three wins have been. It wasn't exactly pretty. The team has looked better in ways over the last 3 weeks, but still not a pretty win. And if I'm perfectly honest, when it was 10-16 and we had one drive to score, I was like, well, there's
you were not excited. I remember you were texting me.
Absolutely no way.
You're like,
I think I said, I was like, yeah, Taylor's not Mahomes, bro. He can't throw a bomb down the field. And then what does he do like 2 plays later? Throws a bomb to Terry, and it's like
I think I was like, what? I was like, what were you saying, bud?
I was like, well, I'm not mad about it, but I didn't expect it. Shit.
Yeah. Take that with your fucking noodle arm argument.
The argument can be made the pass could have been a little deeper into the end zone where Terry wouldn't have had to wrestle for it. Terry kind of saved the game there because both him and the defender had the hands on the ball, and he kind of ripped it from him.
Yeah.
But there's a thing with Taylor and Terry. There seems to be like a connection there. It just works out. I don't know what it is.
And that's why you're paying Terry that money. If anybody had that doubt, that's why that man is, in my opinion, I've been saying this a long time. I think Terry McLaurin's a top 10 receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. The only thing that's stopping him from breaking out more is the lack of targets that he's gotten in an inconsistent system, having the transition between quarterbacks. And not just this year. That's happened to him countless times. It's like, oh, Alex Smith's your quarterback. Case Keenum's your quarterback now, bud. Guess what? Now Carson Wentz is your quarterback. Now Taylor's your quarterback. It's like the man's been through so much quarterback transition, and he produces with everybody.
Him and Taylor back and Terry actually getting a lot of targets. He was 6 for 113 this game.
Yep.
Much better than he's been in previous weeks. Gibson had 7 receptions for 58. Samuel had 3 for 50. So, they were getting work done. And on the ground, we managed to stop Indianapolis from getting a whole lot done. They had 29 carries for 135.
Yeah, John Taylor's 16 carries for 76 yards, 4.8 yard average, which isn't bad. He had a long of 27. But outside of him, you had the one end around play that they ran to receiver Paris Campbell for 28. But besides that, you shut him down pretty well. Rookie quarterback Sam Ellinger, 17 out of 23, 201. No touchdowns, no picks. You guys sacked him twice. The sacks went to Mr. Deron Payne and John Allen, who are both playing really well this season. Really happy to see that Deron Payne wasn't traded. That was a lot of speculation, but John Allen's got 4.5 sacks on the season now, and Deron Payne has 4.5 as well. So both of those guys playing good football at this point. The one thing that I did notice about this game, was after you guys ran the ball really well the last 2 weeks, struggled a little bit here, especially with the backs. I mean, the stats aren't going to look so bad, the 28 for 96, because there was some, Taylor had 29, and then Curtis Samuel had 29.
3.4
but yeah,
average yards, that's not good at all.
Yeah. I mean, but Brian Robinson, your top back, 8 carries, 20 yards. Antonio Gibson, 7 carries, 19 yards. So they stuffed the backs pretty well. So obviously Scott Turner had to get creative with the running game. And I mean, Taylor out there throwing for 279, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. So, I mean, he had a better game than he did last week. That's for sure.
Like all the last few wins have been, but hey, I'll take the win. And I mean, we're going into Minnesota this week, playing Kirk Cousins again, or I don't know about again, but you know what I mean. He used to play for us.
The return of Kirk, yeah.
You know what
exactly.
I meant.
Yeah, no, I do.
And they're 6-1, which is a little surprising. I think that it's kind of like the Eagles. They might have that record, but I don't really know if the team is that good overall. So if we can come out and really play our best, I think we can win. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, obviously with them, key things to talk about in that situation are going to be the, you got Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook. They're their top 2 weapons. Oh, and I guess they've got Hawkinson now that they just traded for. So it'll be interesting to see how involved Hawkinson is, because he just came over from the Lions this week. So he's not going to know the entire offense. Obviously, I assume that Kendall Fuller's been having a pretty decent season, obviously, and then you guys have been having St. Juice step up opposite of him, obviously with William Jackson III now being traded to Pittsburgh, which we mentioned earlier in the show. If you haven't heard, William Jackson III traded to Pittsburgh, him in a 6th-round pick in exchange for a 5th round. Really, the main thing to talk about here is Washington getting out of the rest of that $42 million salary that was owed to Mr. Jackson. He was limited to, I think, 5 games this season with that back injury, and even when he was in there, he was struggling a bit. But yeah, I mean, shutting down Justin Jefferson, you assume that's going to be on Fuller. Shutting down Dalvin Cook is going to be on the defensive line and linebackers. Do we know if Cole Holcomb is cleared to play this week after missing last week?
I hope so, but I'm actually not sure.
Yeah, so I'm looking at their injury report and he's not listed. So that's why I ask, because I see that the injuries we have for this week are J.D. McKissick with a neck. He didn't practice. Today. Jahan Dotson still nursing that hamstring, and then Logan Thomas.
This has a question mark. I don't even know then.
Okay, yeah. So and then Logan Thomas has been limited with a calf injury, although he did play in the Colts game. Although he wasn't targeted, I think he played like 30% of the snaps.
He did not participate in practice on Thursday, so I'm going to go ahead and just go out on a limb. He's probably not going to play.
Probably not, yeah. And I was going to say this is probably related because they did promote 2 linebackers off the practice squad. Nathan Jerry and Dejon Harris have both been promoted. So I assume probably moves in anticipation that he probably won't be playing on Sunday. But yeah. Obviously, they used Jamin Davis and then, Bostic and Mayo last weekend. I mean, it worked to some degree. I mean, you guys limited the Colts. I mean, part of that was obviously them starting a rookie quarterback. But, I mean, obviously the Vikings offense is going to be more explosive. But, good chance to go to, get 4 straight wins and go to 5-4. But, I mean, it was helpful that the Giants lost a game.
I don't. If we lose, I will not be surprised. But I think that there's a potential to win. So,
yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody, on this week's Commanders Countdown. We will recap the Minnesota Vikings game next week. Hopefully, the 4th straight win, move to 5-4.
Absolutely. And for weekly Commanders content, make sure that you guys like and subscribe, and follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok as well. Thanks.